Hey everybody, this is Dream, and today we have a 4-game NBA slate for you. Before I get started, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button? It really helps the channel a lot. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to comment below your favorite plays today. We had some really good options yesterday. We got another really interesting slate. It's only 4 games this time, but we do have some good plays here. I'm going to look at the injury report here for Boston and Milwaukee game. The Celtics have Horford out, and the Bucks have Crowder out. For the Trailblazers and the Thunder, the Trailblazers have Walker questionable, Ayton doubtful, and Williams out. For the Knicks and the Mavs, Knicks have Robinson out, and the Mavericks have Doncic out, Williams questionable, and Lively doubtful, and Exum out. And for the Lakers Phoenix game, the Lakers have LeBron questionable, Reddish questionable, Hakimura doubtful, and Vincent out. So not a whole lot of questionable tags today. LeBron really being the only one that's big deal here. But Doncic is out, so that's definitely going to play into how we're going to make our lineups today. If we look at our core plays, we have 3 guys from Dallas and Kyrie Irving, Jaden Hardy, and Tim Hardaway Jr. Now, it's very close to not making Hardy a core play, but after reviewing his recent play whenever Doncic has been out, he's in play today, especially with the other guys out on the team like Exum, which gives him more potential as well. So looking at Kyrie Irving, though, he's been over 50 fantasy points in 4 straight games. And in the one game that Doncic missed the other day, he scored 51 fantasy points. That was against Portland. I expect him to have another dominating game. As long as the Mavs don't get blasted out of the game, he'll have an opportunity to have a huge game as per usual. Obviously, he's been kind of slumpy throughout the season, but right now he's playing well, and he's definitely worth a look. He's still under 9,000. Well, he's right at $9,000, which isn't a perfect price, but he's definitely in play today. Looking at Tim Hardaway Jr., he always plays well whenever Doncic misses, and he gets a nice boost as a result of that today. The fantasy points in the one game that Doncic missed the other day was over 30 fantasy points. He had 32 against Portland. His price is literally just too cheap right now. Yeah, he typically is very streaky, but if you look at his past, anytime that there are guys out, he tends to have pretty good games, and his price is actually below what it normally is in these situations. So he's definitely in play as a good play today. I think he'll be just fine, even though the Knicks do match up a little bit decently against the Mavericks. Looking at Jaden Hardy, now he definitely does have a low floor, but he's played very well in spot starts. He's had several starts throughout the season, and he's played well in most of them. He's only had one, I think, that he didn't do particularly well, and that was against Golden State, where he only scored 11 fantasy points. But at $3,700, he's nice and cheap, and he definitely gives you a lot of potential at this price point. If he was closer to $5,000, I probably would not make him a core play at least, but being him so cheap, he's definitely worth a look, and he's been absolutely uh, good in these situations. Looking at the Portland game, when Doncic missed last time, he scored 45 fantasy points in that one. So I don't expect him to score that much, but I think he'll get over into the mid 20s at the minimum, and that should be good for a fantasy perspective. Looking at Shea Alexander has played absolutely phenomenal lately. He's been very consistent. The worst game he's had in a while is against Miami, but everybody is a little bit rough against Miami. He's still got 46 fantasy points in that one. I expect him to have a giant game here against Portland, who really isn't going to have too much to try to slow him down. He's just been absolutely phenomenal throughout the season, and he looks like he's in a great spot again. Looking at Julius Randle, he's also played very well lately. He's still under $9,000, which is actually somewhat shocking to me. Um, if there wasn't a bunch of value plays for Dallas because of the injury or because of Doncic being out, then he would have been pretty close to being a core play with SGA. But I expect him to also have a really solid game today, and he just needs 44 fantasy points to pay off, which he's been doing most games. As long as this game doesn't get lopsided, then he should be fine to have a monster game in it. So, and I don't expect it to be lopsided. The spread on this game is 4 points. Looking at some other options that you could look at today, Anthony Davis, Dwight Powell, Derek Jones Jr., Isaiah Hartenstein, and Chet Holmgren all have some utility today. So you can look at those guys potentially. Obviously, not a lot of injuries today, but if LeBron was to be ruled out, that would open up some value from the Lakers. Looks like Phoenix is going to be at full strength, as will Oklahoma City, so do keep those things in mind. And thank you guys for liking, commenting, subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below, and have a nice day, guys.